Hey Chandler's patrons, my name is Timo. I'm the singer of the band Our Mirage, and we just dropped an album which is called Eclipse. It's our third studio album, and we put a lot of effort into this during the Corona time, and this was completely written in the time, mostly also in the quarantine time where we all were separated, and it has been a really challenging album, but I think we've actually made a step further and reinvented our music again. To all the people who know us, who knew us before, yes, it. You probably hear and see the progress in the music videos. Sorry, my dog just sneezed. um, yeah, it's it's been a really tough time recording this album and trying to reinvent everything. We stepped up our tuning game and went down completely to drop F and we were on drop C before. Now we're playing 7-string guitars, for example. Everything is heavier, everything is lower, and yeah, Chandler is a really, really nice dude. I love this guy, and keep supporting him. With lots of love from Germany.
What's going on, guys? Chandler here. So this is going to be my new segment on my YouTube channel called First Listen Review that is taken from my $5 tier full album reactions. So I react to the entire album, and then at the very end I give my overall thoughts and initial thoughts and a score on the album as a whole. So again, if you do like what you see and want to support the channel going forward, head over to patreon.com/ChandlerBurtonEntertainment. This is exclusive to the $5 tier. Again, you get a full album reaction, review, and a whole bunch of other perks as well if you guys are interested. And again, there's always a link down below in the description and in the pinned comment. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the review, and thank you all so much for watching. Alright, my friends, again, Our Mirage and their new album Eclipse. Super excited to check it out with you guys here. This is going to go on YouTube, this part here. I did do a lot of this album, like the reactions here. So again, all my reactions are on YouTube, so you can check those out here. But I'm super excited to check this album out as a whole. You know, Our Mirage, it seems like they're a bit of a smaller band, you know, but I think they're super talented, and they're just super, super nice guys, and they absolutely deserve all the recognition in the world. So again, if you like what you hear from my reaction, just hearing them, you know, kind of just on YouTube and those types of things, definitely support them if you can, man. They are just wonderful human beings here, and they make really, really good music. Really, again, music that really makes you feel the emotion, whether you struggle with mental health or not. You could definitely just hear the emotion in these songs. So I'm super excited to jam it as an entire package here. The album's about 47 minutes and 23 seconds, so it's a pretty long album here, so we're not going to waste any more time. Again, Our Mirage and their new album Eclipse. Let's go on and pop it off in 3, 2, and 1. Well, now before we go on to the next song, I do have a quick story I want to share. So probably last year, like, I have really bad depression and anxiety, and when something stresses me out, I just immediately go back into that mode of like, I hate my life. Like right now, my car is having some coolant and oil problems. It's going to cost me like $2,600 to fix, and hearing that news like just stresses me out, and it puts me back into that mood of like being depressed and anxious and just not wanting to be here anymore. Like this little things like that like really stress me out. I remember one time I went on a walk, and it just kind of hit me. Like it was cold outside, it like hit me, and I just started crying in my car, listening to Halsey out of all artists, and I just started bawling my eyes out. And I made the choice that day to call my mom and just tell her how I was feeling. And even though, like, you know, my mom's not a therapist or anything, you know, she doesn't have all the answers in the world, just calling somebody before you do something before it's too late is going to make you feel a lot better. I'm so grateful for my mom. I'm so grateful for my girlfriend, Anna, you know, who have been there for me when I've needed to call them and talk with them. I have other good people in my life that I've talked to as well, but those are the two that I always turn to, like, if I'm feeling really low or my life's struggling bad. Those are the two that I talk to. And so I encourage you guys, if you are struggling, like, before you hurt yourself, before you take your life, just call somebody. Because I'm telling you, just that little phone call can make your day a little bit better. Just trying to say how you feel. This song actually really helped me with that. And that's not a joke. Like, music has legitimately saved my life in so many ways. And songs like this have really helped me, encouraged me to try to get my mental health, like, under control, or try to, like, fight it to the best of my ability. I just wanted to put that out there. Again, all of you guys are loved, and again, you guys are amazing. So let's continue on to the next song.
A few moments later.
We did it, my friends. We jammed the entire album. That album was so good, dude. I really, really, really liked it a lot. And I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with these guys. Like, again, this is, like, I've been listening to Mirage for a while, well before I was started talking to them or doing, like, Chandler Burton Entertainment. And I gotta say, man, this is definitely their best work for sure. Like, their other two albums are really good, but this one is like a step up, man. Like, I always say, like, you know, I always compare every third album to, like, Master of Puppets by Metallica, which is one of the greatest albums of any genre of music, and that was their third album. So I always say, like, the third album's got to bring it. And I gotta say, Mirage is, they brought it for that third album, dude. So I'm going to give my first listen review, and that is coming up next, so stick around for that. All right, my friends, so again, that was the band Mirage and their new album called Eclipse. We just got done jamming the entire thing. Loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. There's definitely a lot of things I want to talk about here. Let's go and jump right into the pros. I would say pro number one is that I got to give my boy Timo. His vocals on this are on another level. Like, I've always thought, like, with his voice, he's always had that emotional, like, sound to his voice. Like, I have not heard another voice like Timo's before, where you just really feel the emotion of what he's talking about. I mean, yeah, you got, like, really good singers in the scene, but, like, with his voice, you just really feel what he's talking. I have not heard another vocalist like this. So again, his voice is super unique, and his screaming as well, I feel like it's gotten a lot better. Like, again, I don't think his screaming's ever been bad, but on this one, I think he found a really good balance of, like, yelling, low scream, singing. Like, he was able to be, he's kind of like a Swiss Army knife of a vocalist. So again, I think this is his best performance on any of the albums Mirage has done to date, and did absolutely a fantastic job. I really felt the emotion on all of these songs. So I'm like, dude, props to you, man. Your voice is literally on another level. Literally smooth like butter. I would also say I really love the lyrics and the emotion on this album. I mean, there's a lot of sad songs on here. But again, like, Timo and I had a conversation about what it was like growing up for him, and kind of like him trying to be a better person, him going through those things that make him who he is today. And listening to it, like, kind of play out in this album, it just makes me hurt, because again, he's my friend. And so hearing, like, some of these lyrics, like, it really hits you in the heart. But again, I just applaud them for writing these lyrics, because I know that this is going to help somebody. I've read through tons of comments on Mirage's, like, music videos, and I just see how many people are like, I can relate to the song, I'm going through the same thing. Like, it's just amazing to see how many people can relate to their music, and I think they do such a good job at bringing the lyrics in, even though I can assume that it's probably really hard to put those emotions out there. Like, they do a good job of just putting the emotional lyrics out there for people to hear, even though they're struggling themselves and maybe a little hard to put out. It is going to help other people, and again, just really focus on mental health in this album, and I think it's a really important album. I would also say I really love the Eclipse trilogy. Like, those three songs are literally, they sound different, but they're still kind of telling that story, kind of like an Eclipse, how it goes from light to dark. I think these three songs kind of show, like, from light to dark, or dark to light, however you want to see it, just kind of the emotion that these songs went through. And so I thought it was really cool, the storytelling of the Eclipse trilogy. I thought they did a really good job with all that here. Each song stands on its own, absolutely, but all three together, it just absolutely makes an incredible trilogy of songs. They did a really good job with that. And I would also say that this album actually has quite a bit of variety on it. I mean, in my personal opinion, like, Awakening alone definitely took me off guard with, like, the rapping kind of stuff. I kind of compared it to, like, not so much like Wage Wars Manic, because obviously it sounds different, but kind of incorporating, like, that trap rap, type thing, and it actually worked pretty well in its favor. And again, you have those emotional songs like Calling You, got the frickin' rippers like Learn to Be Alone, and then songs like Vicious Cycle. So for me, and cool background instrumental noises as well that kind of make the songs stand out from one another. And so I would say there's actually a lot more variety on this album than I thought there was going to be. On their last two albums, they were just kind of just straightforward, post-hardcore, metalcore, which sounded great, but I feel like on this one they kind of experimented a little bit, or at least on the first initial listen, with trying some new things, and I thought it succeeded. I thought they did a really good job at that. If I'm going to be honest, I really don't have any massive cons with this album. I mean, I know that there's going to be some people out there saying like, this album is not going to reinvent the wheel. They're just this band's kind of like, macaroni and cheese, like at the grocery store. Like there's all of it tastes the same. It all looks the same. And this music's not changing anything. Well, yeah, okay, I will give it that. Like, this music, obviously, our Mirage is not reinventing the wheel by any means. Like, I mean, they are just a really good metalcore, post-hardcore type band. But again, if you like it and you relate to it, there's nothing wrong with that, I know there's a lot of people who like Five Finger Death Punch, and I can't stand those guys. And so there's always just a matter of a personal opinion, with the type of music here. So yeah, I don't think this album is reinventing the wheel. I do think it's a very powerful record when it comes to the emotion, like when it comes to the lyrics. It's a fairly predictable album. It's got some cool moments in it, but you can kind of tell where each song is going. But it is done very well, and it is done. It's very cool what they can do with these songs. And again, we talked about in the podcast as well. We talked about Summertown. It was kind of weird that it did end on that note. I mean, I felt like that song definitely could have just been released as like a fun single and not just part of this album, in my personal opinion. But again, Timo, I do talk about that in our podcast. I keep plugging that here. I'll make sure to leave that down below in the description. But to me, like, it didn't really fit the end of the song. Again, I thought it could have worked better as just like a one-off single. But overall, man, again, I don't really have any major complaints with the album. I really just enjoyed it as like a mental health type album. I thought they did a really good job, and that's what I look forward to a lot, with my music. I'm not really a musical guy, but if it hits me emotionally and I think it sounds cool, I'm gonna like the album. My top 3 favorite songs from this album here, I would say number 1 is Learn to Be Alone. That song was Chandler Core at its finest. Really cool riff, great singing, great screaming. Like, again, like, it doesn't have to reinvent the wheel for me to like it. Like, again, like, I absolutely adored it. I thought this was a really cool song. Definitely a standout as a non-single for sure. I thought the song was just incredible. I can't wait to listen to it again, like, over and over. It's just absolutely fantastic. I'd also say Vicious Cycle. One thing I really like about this album is that the choruses on this album are really catchy, and this one definitely has one of the catchiest choruses on this album. It's just so good. Like, seriously, like, the song overall, it does get pretty heavy and it stays melodic as well, but my favorite part of that song is the chorus. Sometimes the chorus can hold my attention and make it one of my favorite songs, and this song was one of them, and I thought they did a really good job with that. And then I would say, honestly, just on a first initial listen, I would say Eclipse, man. Like, that song had a lot going on for it here. Like, Timo's vocal patterns, the cool, like, guitar work and breakdowns and those types of things, and the lyrics on that really hit me emotionally, and I thought they did a really good job of tying all those songs together. I don't know what I like better, Black Hole, Help Me Out, or Eclipse, but on the first initial listen, I gotta go with Eclipse. But again, those are my top 3 favorite songs on this album on the first initial listen. I definitely will be revisiting this album, multitude of times, but those were the 3 songs that stuck out to me on the first initial listen. This album was just wonderful, man. It was a really fun listen. It was actually really well paced for a 47-minute album. That is a pretty long album, but it felt very well paced throughout. I thought the emotion on this was just on another level. It's like they took their sound that they already had and they kind of just cranked it up to 11 on this album, and I thought they did a really good job with this album, man. I think this album is going to help a lot of people when it comes to like their mental health. I think it really is going to show people like you don't have to be alone when you are struggling, and I think they did a really good job of that here. This album is not reinventing the wheel, but again, I absolutely love the guitar work on this album. I love the singing, I love the screaming. I thought everything that they did on this album worked in their favor. This is just a better version of our Mirage. I'm excited to see what they do next. Maybe they will mix up some more things on the next album to kind of make it, not, I guess, stand out a little bit more from the crowd. But overall, man, I really enjoyed this album. As a guy who is an advocate for mental health, I think this album is absolutely wonderful. And I think if people do give it a chance and actually really give our Mirage the spotlight they deserve, I really think this album and their other material can really help a lot of people. I'm going to give our Mirage Eclipse a 9 out of 10. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Absolutely will make it on my top 10 albums of 2022. I have a few more albums I got to listen to here, but I guarantee that this one is going to make it on there. Again, I just think this is a really important album for people to hear. And again, there's something for everybody on this album. So again, I thought they did a really good job. This is the best Our Mirage album to date. Absolutely fantastic.